At the age of 8, I started to have a spiritual awakening where the goddess Kali would come to me in the night and take me to Smashan, where I learned Agora.
Why should I need to do puja to be close to God?
What is this other layer called spirituality where I need to be agnostic? There's Kali, she's right here.
I'm Naman Pandey, and in this episode, featured not expert is Guru Pashupati, also known as Ashwin Chekava. Guru Pashupati is the Parampara Adhikari, or the chief lineage authority of Trilok Akhada, which is a school of Nath yoga established by none other than the father of yoga, Shankarnath, over 17,000 years ago. So, what is the procedure to become a guru?
I've been teaching people for 15 years to be a guru. I've been literally slapping them, giving them black eyes when they don't get it.
What can I do starting today that will start bringing me closer to my roots of Hinduism? In addition to being a unique time capsule to ancient Hindu spiritual knowledge, the guru is also trained and certified in many different types of martial arts, making him a true paragon of physical and spiritual discipline.
After that, I met my guru. I started to train with him and he trained me really good in martial arts and then he left. My teacher used to throw me in a jungle and say, I'll see you after 4 or 5 days.
Leaving home has gotten me closer to my religion than I was even when I was in India. There are some criticisms about how Hinduism works. One of the biggest ones of those is the caste system. What's your take on that?
Yoga's going around saying, we are not a religion. It's bull. Yoga is a religion. Where do you think it comes from? From the Vedas to the Upanishads, everything mentions yoga.
In keeping with our theme of learning from somebody that's just 2 steps ahead of us instead of an expert, my goal with this episode is to spotlight Guru Pashupati's endeavors to leverage the internet and its network effects to break free from geography being a limiting factor to spreading his spiritual knowledge. Before we move on, at the risk of stating the obvious, when I say not expert, I'm not referring to the Guru's spiritual wisdom or knowledge. I am specifically referring to his efforts to grow on social media platforms. Subscribe for new not experts from every field ever every Wednesday on YouTube and Spotify. And now, my friends, here's Guru Pashupati. Welcome to the Ready Set Do podcast, where we learn from journeys of not experts who are just 2 steps ahead of us. Guru Pashupati, welcome.
Yes, namaste, Naman.
Namaste, and so excited to delve into all that you've been doing, all of your, origin story, and all of the wisdom that you really bring to the table. So I've been following your content online for a while now, and yeah, it's just incredible to be talking to you finally. So to kick us off, and for some of our audience that isn't, already well versed with you, do you mind giving us just a really quick and dirty snapshot of your journey so far that has gotten you to where you are currently?
Sure. I mean, I started my journey very early in my childhood. Maybe at the age of 8, I started to have a spiritual awakening where the goddess Kali would come to me at the night and she would knock my parents out and take me to Smashan, where I learned Agora. This happened for 4 years. And after that, I met my guru.
Wow.
And I happened to meet him because I was really looking for a guru to teach me martial arts, how to fight, that kind of thing. Because I had a lot of violence in my life and I really wanted to know how to deal with it. And he just happened to come in one dramatic moment, which was probably the low point of my life at that point. So then what happened is I started to train with him and a lot of magical things started happening. And then he vanished. Just as soon as he came, he trained me really good in martial arts and then he left. And then I didn't know what to do. But I started to become an entrepreneur. I mean, after all this experience, I was not able to go to school anymore. I thought,
right.
I'll just...
And sorry, and how old were you around this time when you started?
I was 13. I was 13.
Wow.
I literally quit school, but I didn't quit school also because I used to go for the first period where they had the attendance and all that, give my attendance and then vanish. So that's what I used to do. Most of the teachers didn't know me when I came for the exam. And so that's how I got through school and college, and I never really attended classes. And at some point, he came back when I was 18. This time I was already an entrepreneur. And then he told me that you got to undergo a lot of karma before you become eligible to learn yoga. And so I said, okay. And I was already trying to teach yoga at that point because I had learned from every single person who was offering a course here. At that time, there was no Sadguru, there was no Shri Ravi Shankar, there was no Baba Ramdev. Nobody, all these were unknown names. So we had Bihar School of Yoga, we had Krishnamurti, we had Osho, and we had a few other such people at that time. There was the Theosophical Society. They were writing about all the spiritual stuff. It's a mystery for us, right? I didn't even know all these things. I didn't know my religion was so great. I had no idea because in school they didn't allow us to have any kind of religious education. They only taught us. I mean, I slipped into the catechism class and I was asking them questions, and then they threw me out of there. So uh, I was really looking for some spiritual knowledge to know, like what's my purpose here? What's my place? Everyone got busy making a living, and I didn't want to do that. I thought those, like Maslow made a pyramid of needs, and he said there are basic needs like food, shelter, air, water, sex. But I said I don't need any of those first because uh, there are many bad ways to get them, and I don't want to get them in any bad way. I'd already experienced some bad ways to get sustenance by being an entrepreneur, and I realized how much we have to compromise on our morals if we want to make a lot of money. So I thought I want to make it without compromising on my morals. I want to learn something, So that was my dream, to set up something like Ricardo Semler has set up, which I think is a spiritual organization. The largest company in Brazil is called Semco. It's set up by a guy called Ricardo Semler. He was my hero. I wanted to be like him, like have people work, treat them as responsible adults, treat them ethically, make sure that everybody is a tribe and everybody is winning when the owner wins. So that's what I wanted to do. Then uh, karma hit, and then I had to pay for some sins of my past birth, so I got married. Later, I found out from my guru's guru. He told me about my past births, and I was able to see it when he just touched me here, and I was able to see all my past births. So then I realized, oh, why did I get married? And I kind of understood it in a perspective. But even right then, I knew this is some bad karma, and I just have to go through with it. And there's just a lot of bad karma. So there was a lot of bad karma, and I kept going through it. It spoiled my reputation, became a drunkard, and got very sick, and was abandoned by my family, including my parents, because they didn't want to give me even 1 rupee. That's how it was. Because I didn't agree to anything that they said, right from when I was a kid. And they're like, I probably pissed them off with uh, my criticism of the way they live life. So, yeah. Anyway, so I am in touch with some of my family now, and they've started to respect me now. But there was a time when my reputation with my family was fully spoiled. And I wouldn't say that it's recovered fully, and I'm not even keen to recover it. But there's a time when I spoiled my reputation in society by being an absolute drunkard. Then I was like, whoa, I'm supposed to be like a teacher, a yoga teacher, a world teacher. That's what my guru wanted me to be. But I had to really work hard to get out of all the addictions, get back on track, and start teaching people things that make sense and what I have actually come on earth to do. So when I got back onto that track, then everything's been good. It's been all growing well. So that's where we are right now.
Wow. So, first of all, I'm just kind of blown away by the number of ups and downs that you've clearly seen in your life. And it really sounds like, for most people, or at least in my circle, when I talk to somebody, the lows that they have is, sure, they're lows, but they're not all that, in that, it's not, it doesn't sound like it's even in the same league of stuff that you've seen. And so many things that you said, I immediately just wanted to stop you and be like, wait, what, can you tell me more about that? So I'm kind of going to do that basically now, like, going forward. But before I do that, I kind of want to understand, currently, what are some of the, you said you've been an entrepreneur pretty much since you were 13, it sounds like. So I'm kind of trying to understand first, just to contextualize, what are the type of services specifically? I know you mentioned teaching yoga and teaching spirituality and all of that, but can you help just draw a word, or a word picture around the type of services that you offer and basically what it is
As of
that
now,
you.
there's only one door. You know, as of now, there's only one door into the Gurukulam. Basically, what I'm doing is running an ecosystem, and anything can happen here. It's like an experimental petri dish. Anything can take place. Okay. So I've got people who have utterly failed and who have nowhere else to go. All of them come to me. And then I give them a new life by giving them a new identity and also giving them new beliefs and moral systems that help them to make decisions in their life where they were formerly indecisive and losing energy. So now some of these people, they all want to help other people because they've understood that it's being selfish is not going to help, and being selfless is not going to help either. We have to come up with symbiosis everywhere. And the meaning of yoga is symbiosis, by the way. Not many people know that. It's when two people unite. Yeah, when two people unite, they're said to be in yoga. So that's what it is. And spiritual yoga is for you to unite with God, to be one, to have symbiosis with God. Hmm. So it's all pretty straightforward and very simple. This brings about an ecosystem where people learn communication, they learn how to ask for what they want, they learn to offer help when somebody else wants it. So because of that, there are lots of things happening here. You come in through the 64-day challenge, which is my challenge and my test to see if somebody's got it in them to do yoga or not. So I'm having a smaller challenge, like for 5 weeks, I give them a free challenge where they, not for 5 weeks, but for 5 days, I give them a free challenge where I can see whether they've got the discipline, hunger, dedication, thirst, and the humility to learn and to change themselves. And I'll know in these 5 days. So then I filter out a lot of people from there. For the others, I tell them, this is where you need to develop yourself. Go, this is how you can do it. I send them on a pathway, another journey where they finish and come back. So Gurukulam is a place where a guru gives you different journeys to do. And you take up that journey and you go on it. So the first journey is the 64-day challenge. The people who come out of that journey, they're siddhas. They have 3 siddhis: Vak Siddhi, Bhavishya Siddhi, and Sharira Siddhi, which means the power of speech. They can talk. It's the mother of all skills. Because if you can ask somebody, a skilled person, to join you or help you, then they will, if they have made a right offer. So that's just communication skills, Vak Siddhi, okay, speech skills. And then the other one is Bhavishya Siddhi, the ability to create a timeline that your body needs to get ready for. So your body gets ready for your agenda, whatever it is. Okay, so you have an agenda this evening, I'm going to play football. Your body is already now busy sending nutrition, nourishment, and reinforcement to your legs because you're going to use your legs a lot. So it's not good to have surprises when you're not prepared for it. But when you're prepared for it, you can do it. So in self-defense class, people would ask me, like, how, why do you keep emphasizing on awareness? And I'd crumple up a paper ball and throw it at them. Boom. They couldn't catch it because it hit them smack in the face. They didn't expect it. I said, now expect it. I'm going to do it again. I do the exact same thing. They stop it, block it, catch it. They don't let it hit their face because they're prepared. Your body has to be prepared for what's coming. And it forms according to that. So if you want a beautiful body, create a beautiful future, your body will get prepared to become beautiful for that beautiful future. But most people don't start there. They say, I want a beautiful body, I need to control what I eat. And I need to work out, I need to get disciplined without any proper future for which that body is required. Most people are thinking, I'll get sexy and I'll get some mate, which is what they're thinking when they're going to exercise. It's a stupid reason to get. Your body's not going to get ready for that because you don't believe it. Okay, so your body gets ready for 3 things. One, there has to be a massive win for you. Undoubtedly, only wins, no losses. Your body will get ready for it. Okay, like I tell a kid, we're going fishing today on the lake on a boat, and he's ready at 4:30 in the morning. If I tell him we need to leave at 5, he's ready at 4:30 in the morning. If I tell him at 5 o'clock we're going to go to school and they're going to take special classes for you, he's going to wake up when I go and wake him up. He's not going to wake up otherwise.
Exactly.
So in the same way, we need to prepare our body for a win. And it needs to be morally right, secondly. And you need to know how to do it. At least you need to know the steps. And you need to know that you can learn these steps. If you haven't broken things down into steps, you are so screwed. Nothing is going to sit on your timeline. You're just going to prepare to avoid all the work that you want to do because these 3 things are not in place. And psychology has been around for years and nobody's mentioned this clearly, these three things. But in yoga, it's very clear, which is why I get results. I show people the win. I show them that is morally right. I show them how to do it and they do it.
That brings to mind, I remember reading this about this peer reviewed study recently where they had some people, basically, they made a control group and a normal group. And they had one group obviously doing normal workouts with weights and such. And for the other group, they just asked them to envision in their brains that their muscles are becoming bigger and stronger while they just did, air weights. So they didn't even use actual weights, and they found that obviously it was like there was more improvement in the group that was using actual weights, but the group not using or just using air weights was not even that far behind in terms of the progress they saw. They also saw very real, very tangible progress. So it sounds like basically what you're saying is really just your version of or your discovery of that exact same thing, which is really interesting to me.
Hmm. It's not a discovery. This is a principle taught in Siddha Yoga. So it's very ancient.
I see.
These are the three things
Mm,
which get people moving.
gotcha. So I guess from there, I'm kind of interested in exploring really the connection between spirituality and religion, because I know these two terms are used interchangeably a lot, but they're very
Hmm.
different. So, how would you, in your worldview, explain where the overlap and where the differences lie between spirituality and religion?
Yeah, I don't see any difference. For me, it's the same thing. I mean, my religion teaches me about God, and that's how I connect to God. Like, what is this other layer called spirituality where I need to be agnostic? There's Kali, she's right here.
So, just to explain, or maybe give some more context, for some people, they believe that there is a way to be close to whoever to them is God without carrying out the religious rites, or puja, for example. At least in Hinduism, they're like, why should I need to do puja to be close to God when I can just feel God just in my bed while I'm laying with my eyes shut? Does that kind of make sense in terms of where the difference for some people lies?
Makes no sense. How else are you supposed to reach God? It's a lot of work, and it's very, very cleanly recommended in Tantra, like what exactly you have to do and how many times you have to do it and what kind of attitudes you have to have. This is all detailed in the Tantras, you know. How can you escape? Look, if I filled, like I'm sitting in a space now which is around 1,000 square feet, okay? And I cannot fit all the religious books that we have in this space. It will need more space. The entire Nalanda University was burned down. Are they all idiots? Just think about it. Why would they go on writing books? Do you think they couldn't come to this conclusion sitting on that easy chair? These are books written by practitioners, people who got in the field, who actually did things. It's like someone commenting. I mean, I don't see people commenting on quantum science or something like this. But for religion, they feel that it's completely worthless just because they don't understand it. They don't understand quantum science either, but they're not spitting on it because it's giving them computers and whatever. I don't know. Okay, the proof of science is the dirty radiation that we've filled the air with 5G and Wi-Fi and other such non-native EMF, which interfere with the EMF of your own body. This is the achievement of science, and people respect it. While the achievement of yoga is that I can communicate with my guru who sits in the mountains in Himalayas without polluting the earth, but they don't want to learn about it because it takes some discipline and also it takes respect, which they're taught not to do. You're taught not to respect yoga and other religions in school. And now yoga is going around saying yoga is not a religion. While being one of the six darshanas of Hinduism, yoga is going around saying, oh, we are not a religion, we are not a religion. It's bullshit. Yoga is a religion. Where do you think it comes from? Every book, from the Vedas to the Upanishads, everything mentions yoga. Is it not Hinduism, Sanatan? It is. Why are we so apologetic about it? Oh my God.
So, from what you've already laid out, I'm actually kind of just blown away by how deep your knowledge seems to be when it comes to, not really just Hinduism, but really where as far as religion is concerned. So, just for a really quick background snapshot, I grew up fairly religious in a fairly religious household. My parents are still very religious, as are most people in my house. For me personally, it just so happened that I was never I was never able to find my way to where it is, the compass that I live my life with. Everything that I do revolves around that, which I'm told is the actual way to use religion. So, and I know for a fact that there are many people, many friends of mine, many, really most of my friends kind of fall under that bucket. What would you say to people like me who want to find a way back, but just find it really difficult, maybe because there isn't enough exposure or knowledge, or yeah, there's just a gap somewhere. So what can I do starting, today or tomorrow, that will start bringing me closer to my roots of Hinduism?
You need to see the win in it first. You see a win in it, a clear win. What's your win?
It will give
See
me
any
purpose. I think it will give me purpose in life.
everything, all our kingdoms were navigated by religion. Everyone had purpose at that time. When a religion started falling apart, everything built around it started falling apart. The science of India, the uh, the architecture of India, everything, just everything. The armies, everything was run on religion. So yes, it will give you purpose and it will give you direction if you go deep into it. And it's very ancient. It's not like this 200-year-old British education system, which I call Thames Nadi Avidya Mandir. It's not that, you know. So it's all about being. We put a big emphasis on something called Prakriti, which is nature. And without nature, we can't live. And if we were following religious principles, we would never have allowed such bad pollution and really rape of the environment. We wouldn't have allowed it. Okay, so that's why we really need to get back. That's the win for you to get back. You get connected back to a grid that was from before 200 years ago. Maybe nobody knows how old, because when you read the Puranas, they're talking about eternity. So
Right.
that's why it's called Sanatan, the religion that's eternal. Okay. So that's your win. But is it morally right for you? Because then you'll have to see, like, am I going to get ridiculed by my friends? Are they going to like disown me? And if you have all these insecurities, you have moral issues with this. A part of your morals don't agree with it, a part of it does. Because you find that if you start following religion, you won't be allowed to drink. You won't be allowed
Hmm?
to stay out. I mean, not allowed to, but this is what is essential for you to build energy. If you start learning something like yoga, you need to build energy. You can't expose yourself to blue light, you know. And even if you go out at night, you'll have to wear this. Most people can't do this. They don't want to wear this in the night and cut out the blue light. Okay. So we have very clear guidelines called Devi Maryada even before Dr. Jack Cruz came up with all this and started. Good job. Even when Dr. Jack Cruz came up with all this and started teaching the world about it, we already had Devi Maryada. This is something I was following, and he wouldn't. Babaji told me that light interferes with enlightenment. So if you have the wrong kind of light, you can never have the internal light. And there is a lot of internal UV light. We need to take care about all that. So there are some Maryadas to follow. They're named after the Devis, and so various ways in which Devi comes to you, and you have to follow that. So when you start following that, you'll find that you can't have your social circle anymore because those guys start meeting after the sun sets.
Correct.
So then you'll have to have a new social circle, people who wake up at 4 in the morning, which is a complete big moral challenge for people. So you need to overcome that moral challenge, to put it. And the third thing is you need a step by step. You really need to know what's my next step, what's my next step, what's my next step after that, where do I go, and how do I get to my win. You need to see all the steps to your win. Then you'll put it on your agenda and you'll do it. You literally manifest it.
I think what I'm wondering is, let's say that I am able to take all these really difficult decisions and be able to achieve, or pin down that morally, yes, I want to do it. I don't care if if it loses or shrinks my social circle. All of that is fine. um but from that point, is the next step then reading the Puranas and the Vedas and imbibing that wisdom, the Bhagavad Gita, and is there an order to that, or can I just start anywhere and it doesn't even matter?
You don't start anywhere. You do what the guru tells you to do. That's a religion. Okay. This is very hard for the Western mind. It's a very hard for the Western mind. They can't take it. So that's why I have very few foreign students. I have a few who can take it, but those who can't take it can't make it. Because you can't listen to another human being and accept that he knows more than them. There's too much of this democracy thing going on. I don't know what democracy it is. I think it's more like equality, 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 equality. You make yourself equal to the guru, which is a big no-no in India. The guru is treated as a god. And then there's a huge problem that the West has with that. This is how cults are formed, etc., etc. But that's not how cults are formed. Cults are formed by people who have very clear intentions to exploit others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you need to be able to evaluate that by the experience that you're having with someone. But people just don't care to evaluate. They just jump into cults because it helps them to escape from the problems of their life. No cult is going to ask you to face your life problems. They're going to tell you some promise, something that you can do, and it will just happen. And then they make you invest in that and pay them a lot of money to learn that or to do that. That's really what it is. It's easy to investigate. So when you find a real guru, you got to really treat him like a real guru. But people are unable to do that. Even in India, it's becoming hard for some people. But that's the only
So
way you
I
can
think
learn.
I think the disconnect there is that how does one find a guru? I don't think there's some marketplace online that you could go
We
to.
realize you're asking. We realize you're asking this to a guru, right? It's a funny question
No,
to ask to
so
me.
I
How to
do
find a guru?
exactly. But I understand the irony in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but so here's my thing.
Go on.
Most gurus that I know, or maybe that I don't know, aren't using the leverage that the internet offers to, get to people or reach people. You are doing that and you are really unique in that, right? Is that true? Or is every guru out there doing this?
I think everyone's got teams, man. They're even paying a lot of money for it. Like the big gurus, they have fan pages, which they pay an ad agency to make. And then they make so much fanfare about themselves. At least I'm not doing any of that stuff.
True.
you know. So they're really promoting themselves. They're like some of the biggest spenders on Meta ads are the Indian gurus.
So are you just referring to like Baba Ramdev and these folks or
All the
who
big guys.
exactly? Okay. So here's my thing though.
Anybody who's big, there's a whole lot of people who are big. Hmm.
Fair enough. So I feel like if I wanted, it's kind of like how you go to a school and if you have one teacher that's teaching 100 students, you're like, let's go to another school where I'll have 1:20 ratio. So how do I find
Yeah.
like a nice guru that I have access to and that isn't out there doing like a corporation type? Not that it's a bad thing. I just want to be clear. But how can I get a personalized attention
It
from?
is. It is a bad thing because people are not getting the answers that they need, right?
Okay. I didn't want to assume.
But it's bad. But I don't need an answer of that. It, it's obvious. It's obvious that system is broken. It doesn't work. If you want to scale, and this is my advice to all the gurus who might be happening to listen to this, to spy on what I'm saying, well, you please make more gurus. There's nothing else to do.
Yes.
Make more views. That's the only way to do it. Don't scale it with your stupid corporate system and funnels. Everyone thinks that they're like a marketer and they're thinking like a marketer. You don't have to market religion to people. People are already hungry. Give them the real thing and they'll come and eat at your place.
No, that's really powerful.
Simple.
And so also what is the procedure to become a guru?
You come and learn with me. You have to stay in Mysore and learn. I have 15 people here staying with me, all going to become gurus maybe in a year or two. So in a year or two, there'll be 15 of me.
Wow.
And
Huh.
who are empowered to make social media like I make, okay? And
Right.
to teach with the clarity that I teach. Maybe even more. I expect my students to do better than me because they're standing on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
and I expect their students to do even better than them. I mean, even if I train, I realize that if I train 100 gurus, it's enough. They'll train 100 gurus each and they'll train 100 gurus each. I have to reach 7 crore gurus. This is what my guru's guru told me, that you have to create 7 crore gurus, which is 70 million. Why that number? I don't know, but
You
he
of
said
the
that's the amount required if you want to have any kind of dent.
Yeah. And are you of the opinion that anybody can be a guru as long as they pass the test that you had, the 5-day test and the 64-day?
No, no, no. Being a guru is not. That is only to be a sadhak, to turn into a siddha, but to teach others, you need to go through a lot more tests.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, I've been teaching people for 10 years and 15 years to be a guru. I've been literally slapping them, giving them black eyes when they don't get it. Because they really need that, you know? They need that right school. Yeah, they need hard school, man. My teacher was very tough on me. And that's how you get strong, because the trouble that your guru can give you, nobody else can give you in the world. Then you're not scared of it at all. So there was this martial artist, what's his name? Mikhail Ryabko, who's somebody I really respect. Okay, a lot of people laugh at him and say it's all fake and all that. This a whole bunch of people, but everyone who's gone to fight with him has been bounced off the walls. And he looks round. He said, "When I came out of the army, all I wanted to do was eat food, and I'm going to eat food." And he became round. But he was a sniper before that, and he killed a lot of people. And he wanted to kind of make up spiritually for it, so he ended up in a church, an Orthodox church, where the priests there were practicing breathwork, pranayam.
Okay.
So he learned that, and then he integrated that into his martial arts, and then he created something called the systema in Russian. So this guy sent one of his students wanted to go for mixed martial art tournament, so he went there, but he saw those people and he got scared. He saw the big muscles and the build, because anyone practicing systema looks like a normal person. They don't have big muscles. This guy got scared looking at the fitness of the athlete in front of him. And then he came out of the ring, and then he started leaving. And when he was leaving from the ring, as he was coming out, got a wallop in his stomach so hard that it took him about 20 minutes to recover from that. When he came to, he said, "What was that? Why did you hit me like that?" It was Ryabko who had given him a punch in his stomach. And he told him, "No, that guy is not going to hit you even 1/10 as hard as that. You can handle it. Go." So he went and fought, and he won. Okay. So you're only as tough as the toughness you face. This is what people have forgotten. Okay. Literally, my teacher used to throw me in a jungle and say, "I'll see you after 4 or 5 days." And he'd vanish. And I got to survive that, man. Like with everything. So that's how it is. It's not like he didn't put me there untrained. He put me there. He trained me properly and put me. But people need training also to come out of their own habit of getting in their own way. Somebody's got to measure it, and they've got to be accountable to somebody. So it's when you have that kind of accountability that your integrity grows. So you have to be
When
okay.
you're training, uh, when you're training gurus, do you also put them through similar stuff where they have to
Yeah,
pass
life
these
situations.
sounds like challenging tests?
I give them life situations to see who they really are. Now that may sound strange, right? But I can give people life situations if I wanted to. I have the authority. So I create situations in their life, and then I see how they struggle there. If they're going to die, I'll take the mark. Tell them you're not fit to be a Siddha. Okay, bye-bye.
Uh-huh. So when you say life situations, you're not actually putting them in a forest or somewhere. You're saying that you stimulate problems in their daily lives. Is that right?
That's right. Absolutely right.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And
This is new. It's a very old tool.
right, correct. And do any of them ever are like, okay, I quit. I don't want this. Please, like, end this.
Yeah.
Does that ever happen?
Many quit. They go back to their ordinary lives working in a corporation. They don't make it as a guru.
Wow. I just feel like the number of new things or brain expansion that's been going on, at least for me, just by talking to you, is just off the charts. For really this last section here, I want to maybe just personally, as I was alluding to earlier, focus a little bit more on religion, especially obviously Hinduism. And just for some context, I live in the US now. I've been here for about 5 years, and yeah, in a lot of ways, leaving home has gotten me closer to home in that now I feel way more drawn towards my religion than I was even when I was in India. But obviously, there are some really common criticisms that people have to say generally about how Hinduism works. And obviously, as I'm sure you're aware, one of the biggest ones of those is, just the caste system and how deeply it's ingrained. So what I personally have difficulty wrapping my head around, and I know this is true for most of my friends. So we're talking about thousands and basically millions of people here that I'm sure would look really favorably towards Hinduism and would accept it and really participate, head first, but don't because they're like, no, this is wrong, this feels incorrect. So, what can you tell us about the specifically the caste system, and what's your take on that, and how do you deal with that?
It was a legal requirement in ancient India. And, because they didn't have one law for everyone because they thought everyone's not equal. Everybody has something called a dharma. And you can do one of four things. You can either teach, then you're a Brahman, but not teach Thames Nadi stuff. You teach the Vedas. You teach the Vedas, you're a Brahman. And this is by deed. In the Mahabharata, Yudhishthira clarifies this. He asks him, how does Varna happen? Like, can a person inherit a caste? Is what the Yaksha asks to Yudhishthira. And he says, no, it's only done by deed, not by inheritance. A Brahman's son need not be a Brahman. Like, by birth, Ravan was a Brahman, but not by acts, right? By acts, he was a Kshatriya, a warrior. So somebody who's a warrior who actually learns martial arts and knows how to fight and protect society, that's called a Kshatriya. They have a separate law. When a Kshatriya does something wrong, their laws are separate. When a Brahman does something wrong, his laws are separate. Then there's the Vaishya, the ones who are, who bring commerce. And commerce is a very old thing in India. We had trades with Europe, with Greece, and faraway lands. Like maybe even Africa, we had a lot of trade. So these were called the Vaishyas, the ones who took care of the economy. And then there's the rest of the people who worked for the society inside were called Shudras. Later, by misinterpreting of the text, people started to make something called untouchables and all that. Because there are rules which we need to follow there are different laws for each religion, I mean, each Varna.
Right.
And that's really how it came about. But then, of course, the way it's been practiced in the past few hundred years is pretty sad. And it wasn't practiced like this. It wasn't like inequality, but it's not like unfairness. It's just different laws that apply because of the nature of the profession.
Correct. And actually, I didn't even know that it was not inherited by birth. My whole understanding until this point was that you had to be the son of a Brahmin to be a Brahmin, and there was no other way to do
I
that.
mean, it's likely that a Brahman is the son of a Brahman. Above kids, it's not necessary at all.
Right. No, that's the thing I was. That is so interesting.
I think I'm all the four castes, man. When I make podcasts or I teach something, then I'm being a Brahman. When I practice martial arts, I'm being a Kshatriya. When I raise money for the foundation, I'm being a Vaishya. And when I do the jobs within the foundation, I'm being a Shudra. So we have now a social structure where one person has to be multiple things because there aren't enough educated people specialized in doing what they're doing. How do you think we could make all those temples? Who do you think made all the temples? The Brahmins? No. The Kshatriyas? No. The Vaishyas? No. It was the Shudras who made the temples, into which they were only not let later. This is later stuff. Like keep them out, make them untouchables, don't drink the same water. This is all crap.
How did all that happen? It just feels so far from what you're laying out that I like. How did we even get here? Do you have any idea about that by chance?
Moral corruption. There were no gurus to come and slap people, The gurus got corrupt. The Brahmins got corrupt.
Greed, just greed, basically.
I think it's the nature of the earth. Okay, this is also explained in the text. Vyasa has clearly written that the 12 tectonic plates of earth were formed from the fat of Madhu and Kaitab. When they got killed by Vishnu, and then the fat fell into the earth. So then the land mass that exists on earth is inherently evil. And it goes on creating and supporting evil. And by evil, I mean unfairness, non-symbiosis, where somebody wins and the other loses. These kind of arrangements. Win-lose arrangements is evil. Okay? Win-win arrangements are always good. So it's a constant war between good and evil. People who want to be symbiotic find it really hard on this earth. People who want to be selfish find it really easy. Those who want to be selfless find it really easy. But to make a mutual win or a win-win, as it's called, is very difficult. You need to have great communication skills for that to happen. Nobody wants to invest time in that because this is easily supported on this earth.
Wow. So you're saying we're almost inherently incentivized to play zero sum games where there must be a winner loser. And it's way harder to play positive sum games where multiple people can win at the same time.
Actually,
But
man,
that
to
should,
create something, yeah, to create something takes more energy. It takes more talent. It takes more skill. It takes more training. It takes more fitness. And people are not ready for that.
Hmm.
They want this, the fast win, which is only their win. They don't want anyone else to win. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
How's that sustainable,
Yeah.
man? People are just
Yeah.
dying, because of this. People are dying at 70 in India. They're dying at 70, man. 70 should be the pink of youth.
Huh. Definitely a lot of food for thought in that. And on that same note, can you also please for us share any daily recurring practices that people can do to bring themselves closer to either yoga or, as you said, um, being closer to prakriti and earth and nature, and yeah, good practices that are being people, most people should be able to do easily. Actually, forget most people, just that people should be doing.
Yeah. So one is, of course, to follow your circadian rhythms and don't blast yourself with light after sunset. And sleep early so that you wake up really early before the sunset. And then in that time, you practice Om chanting. You can sit on a chair or on the floor or whatever. Don't be embarrassed to chant Om, but not so loud. It's not shouting, it's chanting, right? So going Om, O, Wo, O, and get a crystal mala like this. This is the one I use for my chanting. And I twist it between this finger and this finger. We don't touch it with the index finger,
Right.
because the index finger kind of has too much energy. It's made of the space element, and it can like alter stuff. So you want this, which is the wind element. You want this and fire. You want wind and fire to go into the mala. That's what you're doing. So you keep rolling it. You keep rolling it. With each Om, you roll it. You do a one mala. And if you have the energy, you do another mala, and then you wear the mala. That'll protect you for the rest of the day. The sounds, the internal sounds that we make have been proven to make quantum shifts in our biology as well. That's the quantum biologist catching up with yoga. Even it is really good for your voice as well. It gives you a commanding, booming voice, which you can then use positively to make an impact in society.
How many beads are there in the mala, as in how long do you have to, or should you chant for roughly?
It's 108.
Okay, that is what I got. Yeah, just wanted to confirm. Yeah,
Shiva is 1, but Devi is 8. And they both come from 0 when they both meet together at 0. So it's 108. It's a very holy number for us.
yes.
So you chant it 108 times, and then it starts having the effects of increasing your energy. Another very simple practice to do is called Antaryam. Our religion is based on yagna. Yagna came from Yagnavaraha. Different body parts of his became different yagnas. It is detailed in the Kalika Puran. You can read it. There's a chapter on Yagnavaraha and his 3 sons and what happened. Vishnu as the boar who lifted the earth. Why he had to be destroyed by Sharabeshwara, which is a form of Shiva, like the most violent form of Shiva. He had to get destroyed, and everywhere his tail became a yagna, his intestines became a yagna, his eyes became a yagna, his teeth became a yagna. They're all different yagnas. In that, there is one called Antaryagna, which his heart became. And this is what I'm going to teach you now. And it's a very important thing for anyone practicing Sanatan to know. There are 3 Agnis. One Agni is at the Mula. We can call it the sexual fire or the creative fire, the reproductive fire. It burns on your pelvic floor. Another fire burns at your stomach, belly. Here, actually, your stomach. Jatara. Jatara means stomach. Okay. So Mula means root. So there's Mula Agni, Jatara Agni, and then there's Chida Agni, the mind's fire, which burns in the head. So you give an offering of ghee to all these Agnis every day. This is your job. So you take 1 spoon of ghee, you say, Moolagnyam idam na mama. You're telling your body, this is for the Moolagni, not for me. And then you swallow it. So that goes to the Moolagni, and the Moolagni starts to grow. Take another spoon, teaspoon, okay, not too much. And then uh, you say, Jataragnyam idam na mama. This is for the Jat. You can say it in English too. This is for the Jataragni, not for me. And then you eat. And then you take a third spoon and you say, Chidagnyam idam na mama. This is for the Chidagni, not for me. This is you telling your body loudly. And you say these 3 mantras and you eat the ghee 3 times and you see, wow, something's growing inside me. This plus the Om chanting is all anyone needs to do. They'll get back on track.
I know there's also some practices where people rub ghee or, you know, like oil really in their navel, and apparently that also has certain benefits. But
Boys, it
must
does.
be different from, yeah. But I'm sure all of these things, if you had, any random person listen to this, they would just be like, "Oh, this is just what is this person even saying?" But
Yeah, that shows how much of a closed mind they have, right? Like, why this something without even trying it? Look at me, man. I'm 50 years old. I can lift anyone and throw them. So it's because of these practices, right? And it's coming from me, not from some overweight, sad person. So you should listen. You should listen from where the knowledge is coming from.
exactly, I think that's really the shift that needs to happen, certainly. And really, last question before I let you go here, because obviously, I know you have so many important things to do. But and that relates specifically to how creatively and how well you've been navigating or leveraging social media to get your message out there to people. So just curious to know, for any other gurus out there that want to also kind of follow your path, that are just starting out and want to get a decent amount of reach, really is the important word here, on social media. What are some themes that you found resonated really well with your audience when you were building it, and what are you focused on in that sphere?
I don't really think about themes as such. I advise everyone to get live and start talking to your audience because you don't know what your audience wants. You can't assume your audience wants what my audience wants. So go out there, talk to them, do a lot of AMAs, ask me anything,
Mhm.
and then you'll get to know. You've got to research. But if your only audience is only a small friend circle, then if you want to grow your audience, you have to start hanging out in other forums and researching the internet. I have a student who does my research for me. I have no idea how she does it. But if I say, tell me what are people asking about Siddha Yoga, she'll give me like 400 questions people have asked on the internet. So there's ways to do that research. And you would be better off making content on what people want to hear instead of making content on what you want to make.
That makes total sense. And just really actual last question is, would you consider yourself an expert in the social media sphere, or that is that outside your guru expertise knowledge?
I'm no expert. I have a good team. That's all.
So the only reason I wanted to clarify that is, obviously, as I'm sure you are aware, the theme of my show is, I talk to not experts about how they're 2 steps ahead of somebody that hasn't started, and I'm just trying to clarify here that when I
Yeah.
refer to you
Okay. You got the
as
rest
a,
right.
as a not expert, that's not a commentary on your guru or vidya. It's more on how you've navigated the social media sphere to have us connected, because I would never
No,
have
even
found you.
even when it comes to teachings and knowledge, I want to forget everything because a fish doesn't have to remember its lessons on how to swim. Do you remember how to walk? You just walk. So in that way, I'm not full of knowledge about yoga. I am yoga. Like Dali said, I am drugs. You have to be yoga. You have to be in yoga. That's it. There's no. I don't remember techniques. My students come and ask me, does Manipura have 10 petals or 16 petals? And I'm like, I don't know. So that's not the kind of teacher I want to be. I'm like, how does that make a difference in your life if it has 16 petals or 10 petals? How does it make a difference in your life? And if they have a good answer to that, then I'll try to remember the lesson. Otherwise, I don't want to remember that lesson.
That's so interesting to me. I feel like in all of the months that I've been doing this, I've just never been exposed to this idea where you you start to literally embody a certain, skill, or this is not the skill. I don't actually even know what it is. It's a way of life, I guess, is what it is. And you just become it, which is so fascinating to me as a concept. It's actually so cool.
Hmm. So when you are a yogi, it means you know nothing. I don't know shit. I look at everything with the eyes of a beginner, even if I know it. I forget about it. And look, maybe there's another perspective that I didn't see. And I'm not disappointed. Every time there is something I've not seen before. The world is so infinite, you can't possibly know. When the guy says, I know it, that's it. That's the beginning of ego. You're not going to know anything after that. And you already know it, but also know how to teach someone who already knows.
Exactly. That's so true. And that also brings to mind sometimes when I'll reach out to a certain guest for a certain episode, and they'll be like, oh, I would love to come on, but sorry, I'm an expert at this. Which is so counterintuitive. I'm like, okay, I guess, sure. You don't have to come on, but
I'm telling you, man. However fast, who's the fastest guy on earth? It's Usain Bolt, right? He's not the fastest guy on earth. There are people faster than him, but they just didn't come to the Olympics because they didn't really think of themselves as experts.
wow.
Anyway,
Yeah, there's multiple lessons in there for sure. But I really just want to truly and really thank you for taking the time today. I actually can't even believe I had the chance to talk to you, and really looking forward to staying connected and also watching all of the amazing content that you put out. I feel like I learned so much from a 30-second reel that you put out, that it makes me feel like, okay, maybe Instagram isn't the worst thing. So thank you so much for doing.
Slash, I'm trying to make Instagram a better place.
You really have been. I feel like if you're going to watch reels, might as well watch something, that actually has a positively transformative impact on your life. So, again, thank you so much for doing that. And I hope.
And thank you, Seekit, for asking me nice questions that I really enjoyed answering. So I'm happy to do another episode with you whenever you want.
Absolutely. You know what we should do is I will open up an AMA for my audience to collect all of the questions that they would want to ask you, and then we'll do another one focused on all of those questions.
Remember, is the way to go on social media, I feel.
Exactly, yeah. And again, I just learned that about 10 minutes ago from you, and I'm actually kind of kicking myself for not already doing this. It feels so
It's obvious, right? Yeah.
but
Make it tempting to them and you don't ask them what they want.
exactly. I'm like, oh, let's talk to X and Y, and thank you so much.
Yeah, take care.
Yep, have a great rest of your day.
You too.
That brings us to that fascinating discussion with Guru Pashupati. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Honestly, I was kind of taken aback multiple times through the episode. I'm not sure if you could tell. But if you would like to support me, the easiest way to do that is by subscribing to the YouTube channel and leaving me up to a 5-star rating on Spotify or your favorite podcast app. There are also links in the description for more effective ways to support me. If you have any feedback or suggestions, please comment them in the comment box. It really makes my day, and I love reading comments from all of you. Finally, follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn and Twitter. Catch you all in the next one. New episodes every Wednesday.